Can I get a KAA?
Tú sabes.
But did you really, though? Did you know that in 2018, Kids Across America launched its first camp specifically designed to serve the youth in our Latino communities? Well, today, I have the pleasure of speaking with one of the initial KAAs that served as a pioneer in creating that event, Pastor Daisy Diaz. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me and for sharing with me.
Thank you. Daisy and her husband, Pastor Greg, are the co-founders of Las Americas Ministries in Memphis, Tennessee, where they serve approximately 700 youth in over 9 different programs, all in a Christ-centered environment. And we are so blessed to have you and excited about hearing about what you all are doing now.
Thank you. We are, well, right now with the pandemic, obviously, our programming has changed a little, but at Las Americas, we have programming that serves the Latino youth and children in our community and their families through 9 different programs that involve educational, recreational, and outreach programming. In the outreach, it includes discipleship and leadership training and character building programming. We work in the schools alongside with the ESL teachers tutoring students that are new to the country or who have the language barrier that are inside the ESL programs with the most needs. We also work after school with students in doing homework help, with reading, tutoring, and with different kinds of recreational programs like LA Fit, where we do 1 hour of organized recreational activity for the kids. There's a huge number of children in the Latino community with diabetes, with hypertension, with growing problems of obesity. And so this is a need that we try to help with as well. And then we have club nights on Fridays with middle school and high school students. And we're in the schools with them as well, creating relationships and building bridges with them and a relationship with Christ. And then in the summers, we have 12 different camping experiences for our lower elementary, upper elementary, middle school, and high school students. So we're pretty busy all year long.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So how did you get involved in creating the first KAA Espanol? Tell us about that process.
So Ray Arechiga and Sue Campbell were the ones who actually reached out to us. They reached out to Greg and myself, and we began to meet for a whole year in preparation for this, just talking about the dynamics, the needs of the Latino population, well, actually the students in the Latino community, what were their specific needs, how we could serve those specific needs, and how KAA could come alongside and help with that. And just thinking a little bit out of the box as well of how we can use the expertise and the dynamics of KAA that have been around for so long and have been so exceptional in serving other communities, especially the African American community, because for so long the urban context was just thought of being the African American community, but now we know that that's changed so drastically. It's not just the African American community inside the urban context. There's so many other ethnicities and so many other faces, and so just trying to see how we can come along and bridge all those different gaps and help this huge demographic that continues to grow in the United States and is underserved and also needs an outlet such as KAA.
And so what were some of the key factors in considering all of those things that you knew had to be in place in order to make sure that they would get a quality experience?
I know you're going to laugh. One of the things Greg kept coming back to, and we learned immediately after the first camp, which was kind of our trial and error camp, was the food. I mean, there's so many other little things like the language barriers. We bring kids that are 2nd and 3rd generation Latinos. Their first language at home may be Spanish, but they're very fluent. They're bilingual. They know the Spanish and the English language. But then you have this population of 1st generation Latinos. These are the immigrant children that their first language is Spanish, and for many of them it's the only language they know, and they know it well. So that was also very important, and KAA was very intentional in looking for counselors when they were preparing for that summer that were bilingual or that had some knowledge of the Latino culture and understood the language. They didn't have to be Latino, but they had to have, some cultural understanding of the Latino community and had to know the language to a certain extent and understand the culture. Another thing we did was come in before our kids came in. I came in alongside with my colleague Rosario, and together we gave some training, some cultural training, and answered some questions to the counselors that would be working with our kids about the Latino community, about the kids and what their plight is and what are the issues they deal with day to day in school, out of school, in their families, in their homes. And that was really important so that they would have that sensitivity and understanding of the kids that they were going to be serving during the week that we were there. I say food again because our kids eat, they eat, and that's one thing the parents do well. They feed their kids.
That's part of culture. Food is a part of your culture.
It is. And they're picky about their food. What maybe, be normal for everyone else to eat isn't always normal for them to eat, so that was key. And so that first time around, we did have, one of the issues was the kids didn't want to eat because it wasn't the food they were used to eating. So the second time around, I remember there was the menu changed up. That was great because KAA was always so open-minded and so accommodating to make sure that our kids felt welcomed and to make sure to we were always going back and forth and talking, seeing how it could be better. And so that second time around that we went, we had some Mexican food in there and some other Latin American food. And Rosario and I took over the kitchen a few times. And thank you to the cooks because I know
I was there. It was a blessing. I received every bit of it. It was wonderful.
It was fun. I got to use that big old cooker they have, and I dubbed Big Bertha, and cooked like, I don't know how many pounds of, I think it was like 40 pounds of rice in it.
Tres leches cake.
I did. Yeah, we did some tres
Wonderful.
leches cakes for desserts.
It was a blessing, I think, to all of us to be able to be a part of that and to connect with kids in general, and to just feel like we were being an encouragement. And I wanted to know what were some of the highlights for you, for some of your kids, some of the things that you felt like were kind of themes with them that really stuck out about their time there.
There's so many things I could say. There's so many stories. We took all our Kaleos, we took all our youth workers, we took all our educational specialists. They were all there because these are the kids that come back with our kids and work with them from day to day and throughout the summer. And I can sum it up in one story that really till this day just gets me. There's a student we had since kindergarten, and there's some stuff that went on, some bullying in school, some different situations in school, and because of who he is, because of his background or whatever, and just situations at home and stuff. And this kid is someone who's really smart. He reads really well. That's one of the things that I love about him. He and I read together all the time. We talk about books all the time. And he was already a middle schooler. No, actually he was in his 8th grade year going into high school the first time he got to go to KAA with us. And for the past 3 years prior to going to KAA, we had seen a drastic change in him. Parents were really concerned. We had been trying to get more involved with him. He would wear a hoodie every day, regardless of the weather, his face completely covered, stopped smiling for about 3 years. We couldn't get him out of his shell. The only time I'd get him to talk was when we were talking about books. That's how we related. But outside of that, we just couldn't crack that shell. And it was really hard to watch because we had seen this fun-loving, crazy, just, exuberant child grow into this lost and quiet and isolated young man. And his first year at KAA, I remember just observing him every day. And the first day, he got there, the hood over, not wanting to talk to anybody, completely isolated. And, the second day, like, well, he didn't take off the hoodie, but the cap of the hoodie was off, and then by the third day he was smiling and talking and interacting. And I remember the last day he was in my group when we would do I'm trying to remember the time where the KAAs meet with the students.
Harambe?
Harambe. There you go. We're doing the Harambe. And I asked them, what is the one thing they would miss the most? And everybody was talking about, all the different games and the activities and the lake and all the things that they would miss and all the other interaction with all the other kids and the counselors and all of this wonderful stuff. And I get to him and he says, my biggest fear of going back home is that I'll lose what I felt here. I'll lose Jesus. And I was like, really? He says, yes, it was the best thing. He says, I know, I can say now, Miss Daisy, that I know who Jesus is and I have a relationship with him. And that was the best thing that happened to me here. It was the best. It was better than all the other activities we did here. And they were all great things. He says, but the best thing that happened to me here is that I can say that I have a friend in Jesus and that he's my friend. He says, but my biggest fear of going back home is that I won't feel what I feel here with Jesus. And he says, are you going to help me with that? And I said, yes, I'm going to help you with that. He says, will you tell my parents what I saw here and what I lived here so that they'll be intentional in helping me not lose what I did here? And I said, yes, and stuff. And we talked more about that. But after that, that smile never left. We've not seen that hoodie ever again.
Right?
Doesn't cover his head anymore, and that is across the board, these kids saying that, that experience was just so key. The moments they had with their counselors inside the cabins where they could ask real questions and get real in a safe place and talk about certain things and expose certain things because of the fears and the doubts that they had and what they were going through, and to know that God was there with them after all of these conversations they had and everything they heard at camp and even the activities they had. Everything is with a purpose, the fun stuff and everything. They're always teaching some type of purpose, and it was just always leading up to what they were going to hear that evening or what they were going to do. And it was just so intentional, and it was just such a great experience for them. That has been the highlights of KAA. For our kids in particular, for most of them, that's the only vacation they'll take in the summer. That's the only time they ever leave Memphis. That's the only time, they get to be kids a lot of times because you've got parents that are working all the time and they take care of the younger siblings, and some of them even have to work. So all of that plays into what KAA does and what happens when these kids go to KAA. It's just it's a overall holistic experience for them, and it is just amazing the results that we get, and it's 100% results. You cannot take any kids that'll come back without receiving something from their experience at KAA.
Thank you. That was so encouraging. I wanted to know if you had a message to give to Kaleos or parents or kids that were thinking about coming. What would you say? And you can say that in English or Spanish. It's up to you.
Well, I'll say it in English to the Kaleos. It's not a job when you go. Everybody thinks, well, there are more hours I have to put in to spend with kids, and sometimes you're thinking, I need a break. It really is, you're going to spend time with kids, but it's a whole other type of spending time with kids that you can imagine. But going to KAA is a whole other experience. You're ministered to, and you will find answers to questions that you have as well. We're always pouring into kids all year long. And when you get to go to a place like KAA, there's people that are there catering and waiting just to pour into you. And there is nothing like it. I've never been to any place where someone is waiting there just to pour into you and to do for you. And KAA has been set up to do that. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss the opportunity to see what God's going to do in the kids that you've been working with and see the fruit of all the work you've done all year long. see what come to fruition, everything that you've done all year long, and see how everything is set up just perfectly, and how God puts everything into place at KAA so that all the work you've done all year long, you see how the fruit of that work comes out through the people that are there and help pull out so much from those kids. And you actually see so many blessings just pouring upon those kids, and see how God moves in the middle of their lives. You never want to miss that experience. And you get to do that. There are opportunities and things set up so that we get to see our kids do that. To the parents, para los padres que han dudado en un momento u otro mandar a sus hijos, la experiencia en KAA, yo soy mamá antes de ser ministro. I'm a mom before I'm a minister. Y yo les recomendaría 1000 veces que mandaran a sus hijos. Es un lugar seguro. Sus hijos no van a estar expuestos a nada que les va a perjudicar de alguna manera negativa. Todo lo que van a recibir allí es algo positivo para sus vidas y va a ser de bendición para ellos. Van a escuchar una palabra que les va a edificar y los va a llenar y los va a levantar. Van a aprender disciplinas que van a ser solamente para el bienestar de sus hijos, y van a regresar totalmente transformados y diferentes. Además, van a tener una experiencia que en muchas ocasiones como padres no les podemos dar. Tienen mucha diversión, tienen muchas actividades, y si algo nos aseguramos es que coman. Como padres latinos, algo que nos preocupa mucho es si nuestros hijos van a comer. Y en KAA comen día y noche. Eso sí van a hacer. Van a comer y van a comer bien. Y les aseguro que va a ser la mejor decisión que pueden hacer, mandar a sus hijos a KAA. Las Américas es solamente una porción de los jóvenes que van. Nos encantaría ver muchos jóvenes de todos los estados de los Estados Unidos. Es un lugar seguro. Si sus hijos son inmigrantes, si ustedes son inmigrantes, no tienen que preocuparse. Es un santuario, es un lugar seguro donde ellos van a estar seguros. Pero manden a sus hijos, no los dejen en casa. Es la mejor oportunidad que ustedes pueden ofrecerle a sus hijos.
Pastor Daisy Diaz, I want to thank you so much for all the work that you're doing and all the efforts that you put in to make this happen. We are grateful for you and your ministry, and we are thankful for KAA Espanol, and we look forward to seeing you guys in 2021.
Listen, we're so excited all the time. Anything that has to do with KAA, we're excited that we were able to be a part of it. We consider it truly a blessing that we were asked to even be a part of it, and to be able to be a part of it from the beginning, and to have some input was truly a blessing beyond belief. And we are so looking forward to our partnership and everything we can do moving forward. We're so grateful to KAA and to everyone at KAA for loving on us, loving on our kids, and for having the heart to serve everybody.
Well, thank you. I'm Calandria Odom, HD Women's Director, and this is your KAA History Minute, and now you know. And for all things KAA, check us out at kaacamps.org/Vision 2020.